Win free airtime with One Africa TV. Share your comments on the channel. SMS your feedback, name and town to 555. One Africa TV. It just gets better.
Grade 12s. This is the core workshop for algebra. So this is a revision workshop that we're doing now, doing revision exercises on algebra. The first question says factorize. Factorize means I have to divide. I have to divide something common into both there. Now it might be a number, a letter, or a number and a letter. In this case, I can take out 2a to be my first factor. And then you divide with 2a. So the second one, if I divide there, is then ab. And there it is minus 3. You have to write the two factors next to each other. Both should be there. Question 2 says simplify. So that means now we're going to get the product. This is now the opposite operation here. So you multiply the signs. In this case, it's a positive. The numbers is 3. And now indices have different rules. You have to add your indices. So this will be x to the power of 6. I add like terms, only x and x. And then y and y. If there's nothing, there is a 1. So it is then y to the power of 3. Y to the power of 3. Question 3. Solve the equation. Now, to do an equation, we want x on the one side and the values on the other side. And the one golden rule is the moment when you take a number over, over the equal sign, you change the sign. That is why it is now negative 10x. The negative 8 stays there. I don't change the sign, but this negative 2 is coming over and I change the sign. I change the sign there. So then you have negative 5x, which is equal to, and you can do this on your calculator, negative 8 plus 2, which is then equal to negative 6. And now in the next step, we divide with a coefficient. The coefficient is that one number that stands next to x, the coefficient of x. And what you do on the one side, you must do on the other side. And the final answer is then 6 over 5. 6 over 5. Or you can say 1 1/5. Both answers will be acceptable. If we look now here at question 4, this is indices. Indices have different rules than numbers. They don't have the same rule here. So what I do is I need to change them to the same base. So I have to change 8 to the same base. How will I do that? You learned this method in grade 8, where you divide with prime factors. And the prime factor that we're going to divide with here is 2, 2, and 2. So it means that 2 to the power of x is equal to 2 to the power of 3. 1, 2, 3. That's how I get it. And now, because your bases are the same, you can only solve the indices. So this means x is going to be equal to 3. X is equal to 3. Here we're going to do exactly the same thing. I have to change it to the same base. So I divide with prime factors. You cannot divide by 2, so this time we're starting by dividing by 3. 3 divides into 81/27, and 3 divides into 9 3 times 1. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can say that 3 to the power of x is equal to, now it's going to be 1 over 3 to the power of 4, but I want to take it up. I want it as a positive 1, and it is then negative 4. Negative 4. So my answer is x is equal to negative 4. Indices. Question 5. Solve the equation. It's again an equation that we're going to solve now here. So it is 5x. I need to take the number of values to the right-hand side. So if I take it over, I change the sign then there. So 5x is equal to 15. And now we divide with a coefficient. This is the coefficient. You divide with a coefficient, and x is equal to 3. X is equal to 3. Question 6. It's again factorize. Factorize. Divide. It means divide. Find a common factor. The highest common factor. And if you look here, the only common factor that we have this time is x. So I'm going to divide by x and divide by x. So x is my first factor. Write it down. And then it is 3y minus 2. 3y minus 2. That's my factors. Question 7. The formula for the perimeter of a rectangle is given. We all know that perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the breadth. But now they want us to make A the subject. We have to find A. Now, you apply exactly the same rules that you do for numbers. Now it's just with letters. So I'm going to say that P minus 2B is equal to 2A, because A must become the subject. And now I'm going to divide with a coefficient, so I'm dividing by 2. It will cancel out here, and here you will divide by 2, divide by 2. So the answer is then A is equal to P over 2 minus B. There's your changing of the formula. Question 8. Simplify the following expressions. Now, this is very basic. It's again your indices rules. Remember, you can only add like terms. Only like terms. You can't add unlike terms. And again, it would be a good thing if you do this on your calculator. Use your calculator to get that answer. So it is then 9 minus 6, and that is 3R. And here we're going to add S and S. Negative 4, if there's nothing, there's a 1. Negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3S. The second one, number B, is dividing. What is the rule here? Let's just go back to the rules. A to the power of x times a to the power of y is equal to a to the power of x plus y. If you multiply, you add, but it must be like terms, the same base. If it's division, then we subtract, so it becomes a to the power of x minus y. The next one is a to the power of x to the power. Now we're going to multiply, and this is then a to the power of xy. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. And the other one, we had it just now, the negative index is the positive reciprocal. The negative index is the positive reciprocal. And the last rule is a to the power of a half is equal to, and this becomes the square root now here, so there is the 2. So the square root is the fraction when we have the fraction. So this is what we're using now here. Right, so we have to subtract now because it's division. So this will be Q. You can write a 1 there, but it's not necessary. And here, this is now multiplication. So what do we have to do now? Add. So on your calculator, 6 minus 2 is then p to the power of 4. The next one is a very important thing, solving simultaneously. You got definitely going to get a question on that. And I know that there are still learners struggling with this. So what we want to do is we want to eliminate either x or y, because you actually can't solve them simultaneously. You have to eliminate one of them. Now, to eliminate one, we need to get a 0. If we add now here minus 1y plus 1y, then there is a 0. So we're going to eliminate the y's. Your signs must differ, then you can add. Remember, if there's nothing, there's a 1. So this is then 3x is equal to 5. We just add the 2 there. 3x is equal to 5. And that makes x then equal, remember, I will divide now again with a coefficient. Divide with a coefficient, so it is 1 2/3. X is then 1 2/3. And now I have to find y. So I substitute back in one of these equations. It doesn't matter which one you're taking, you must get the same answer. Now I'm going to use this one here. So I'm going to substitute now. This is x plus y is equal to 2. So I'm substituting now in x's place this value. I substitute that value. So 1 2/3 plus y is equal to 2. And now we're going to say y is equal to 2 minus 1 2/3, because when I take it over, I change the sign, and that means y is equal to 1/3. Y is equal to 1/3. So there is the answer for x, and there is the answer for y. Solving simultaneously. Question 10. So here we have a mixture of methods that we're going to use. First one, simplify. That means I'm going to add like terms. So my like terms are this 2 and this 2. You cannot just add everything, like terms. So again, do it on your calculator. 2 minus 7 is equal to, and that is the negative 5t. Here, negative 5 plus 9 is equal to positive 4m. Positive 4m. The next one is an equation, but we also have brackets, and you remember that Botma's rule? So I first have to remove my bracket. And what's very important is that you will multiply it with each term. You need to multiply it with each term. The same thing here. Multiply it with each term. So if I multiply here now, I'm going to have 6a minus 18. And here I will have 8 minus 20a, which is equal to 18. I first remove my brackets. And now I need to collect my like terms, the x, or in this case a, on the left-hand side. So positive 6a minus 20a will be negative 14a is equal to Okay, so now I'm going to take the numbers over. If you take this one over, it becomes plus 18. If we take the 8 over, it becomes minus 8. When you take it over, you change the signs. So these two signs have changed here. I change my sign. And then if you add now 18 plus 18 minus 8, then we have 28. So negative 14a is equal to 28. And if you divide now the a again, we're going to divide with a coefficient. This is the coefficient, so we divide with negative 14 and divide with negative 14, which makes a equal to negative 2. A is equal to negative 2. Question C, factorize. So we are again busy with factorize. That means divide. What is common here? I can divide with the number 15 on both sides. Which letters? PQ. And there also PQ. So my first factor now here is 15 PQ. So now I have to find the second one. When we divide, we subtract the indices. The 15s will cancel out here. So it is then P. Again, 15 will divide into that negative 30, negative 2 times. Subtract your indices. So it's Q. P minus 2Q. And the last one is then a word sum. Toffees cost T cents and fudge costs F cents. Cha buys 8 toffees and 3 pieces of fudge. Write down the total cost. What is cost? The price times how many you buy. And this is what we're going to do here. So 8 toffees will be 80 and 3 fudge will be plus 3 fudge. This is unlike terms. This is toffees. This is fudge. So you cannot add them. That is your answer there. Right. Let's look at the next page. It's still part of that question. Now they say, write the cost in dollars. We know that there's 100 cents in a dollar. So we're just going to take that 80 plus 3 pieces of fudge and divide it by 100. That's how we're going to change it to dollars. And then they say, find the total cost when T is 50 cents. That's actually the price now, and the fudge is 75. So now we're just going to substitute in our previous formula. Still very easy. So it is then 8. And now I substitute the 50 cents there in T's place, plus 3 times, and this is then 75, divide by 100. Can you see? I just substitute. I substitute in that formula in. Find the total cost. So now we just do that on our calculators. 8 times 50. Plus 3 times 75, and we're going to divide it by 100 because they asked the answer in dollars. They want the answer in dollars. And I got 6.25. Sorry, this is this question, 6.25. And at E they say, find the value of X in this one. Now here we reason, this is quadratic equations, and here we reason to get an answer of 0, either this one or this one must be equal to 0. So I'm going to say that X plus 4 is equal to 0, or X minus 5 is equal to 0. One of them must be equal to 0 to get an answer of a 0. And now if you take this one over, we can say that X is equal to -4. And again here you take the sign over, or x is equal to 5. So it will always be a change of sign. You change the sign. Question 11. Expand. Expand is like products. Find the product. Remove the bracket. I like to work with these arrows because otherwise you forget. Each one in the bracket must be multiplied with 6x. Each one. So it's sign, number, letter. If you multiply the numbers, we have 18. Add your indices. If you multiply, you add. So it is x to the power of 3. The second one, positive times a negative is a negative. 6 times 4 is 24. Add the indices, and it is x squared. Remember, if there's nothing, there's a 1. And then the last one is plus 18x. Plus 18x. Expand. Number 12 is again changing the formula to make t the subject. This is what we want to do. We want to make t the subject. It works like numbers. So I'm going to say that this is b plus c, which is equal to 4t. Can you see? I take it over. I change the sign. Now to find t alone, to make t the subject, I divide with a coefficient, and I divide with a coefficient. So b plus c over 4 is equal to t. b plus c over 4 is equal to t. At number 13, we again have solving simultaneously. Look again, because this is very important. Now this time I cannot just add, because 1 plus 1 is going to give me a 2. Then I have not eliminated x or y. So what we do is we're going to subtract. If you change the second signs and add, then you are subtracting. So now positive 1 and negative 1 is 0. Can you see? Now I have eliminated x. So plus 3 plus 1 is then 4y plus 4y. If there's nothing, there's a 1. Is equal to, and 6 minus 2 is equal to 4. So now we divide with the coefficient. Divide with the coefficient, and y is equal to 1. And now I go back to any of the two and substitute. The second part is to substitute. So let's say we use this one. X plus 3y is equal to 6. So x plus 3, and now I substitute this value of 1 in that place. There's the 1, is equal to 6. So x is equal to 6. I'm going to take over, multiply there, and take it over, and x is then equal to 3. So here is your two solutions. Y is equal to 1, and x is equal to 3. Question 14. Now, we've looked at this one now. It was the indices laws that we've looked at just now. We can just go back there. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. So it means this one's answer is going to be 1. 7 to the power of negative 2, give your answer as a fraction. And that was the next rule that we had there. So this is the same as 1 over 7 to the power of 2. The negative index is equal to the positive reciprocal. The positive reciprocal. You can give it like this, or you can say 1 over 49. That will also be right in this case. Yeah. Question 15 is another Factorize. What does factorize means? Divide the highest common factor. I need to find the highest common factor. That is something that can divide. So if we look here, I can divide by the number 4 and the letter A. Here I can also divide by 4. It's a factor of 12 and the letter A. So my first factor is 4A. Now if we divide here, we have 2A. Remember, I subtract my indices. And then it is minus 4 divides into that one 3 times minus 3B. The A's will cancel out. 1 minus 1 is 0. Question 16, simplify. So that there we're just going to divide the numbers, which is 5. And what is the rule for indices? When I divide, I subtract. So it is then x to the power of 2. X to the power of 2. Question 17. Expand means remove the bracket, products. And I have to multiply each one with that one outside. So that gives me then 6. You have to add your indices. So it is x to the power of 3, y. And then multiply with the second one. Positive times a negative is a negative. The numbers are 12, and the indices, I add them, so it's x squared, y squared. X squared, y squared. Question 15 is again a word sum. Eleni thinks of a number. Now that number we're going to make x. She multiplies it by 3 and then add 4. And that's what we're going to do. You just do it step by step. So the number that she thinks of is x. If I multiply this by 3, then I will have 3x, add 4, plus 4. Just that. That's all that we do there. Her answer is 25. So this is 25. So we can say that 3x plus 4 is equal to 25. This is then solving an equation. So 3x is equal to 25. Because I take it over, I change the sign there. So 3x is equal to 21. Then you divide by the coefficient, and x is equal to 7. X is equal to 7. The next question is again on indices. We had those rules just now. So what did we learn? Anything to the power of 0 is 1. Just need to know your rules. Okay, now what do we have here? We have that negative index. And what did we say? The negative index, so a to the power of negative 1, is equal to the positive reciprocal. This is the rule that I'm going to use. So I have to reciprocal it in the first place. You must give your answer as a fraction, so don't just press the calculator because then you won't get it. So that means it becomes 3 over 4 to the power of 2. I remove the negative, I reciprocal it. And now I can power each one, and you should actually power now each one there. So 3 to the power of 2 is 9, and 4 to the power of 2 is 16. You can do that part on your calculator, but that is then the final answer there. Right, solving simultaneously again. So this time I want to eliminate G because it's 1 and 1. Again, if I add it, I'm going to get a 2. So I need to subtract, and that means I change all the second signs, the whole row. You change the sign and you add. So 1 minus 1 is 0. So now we've eliminated G. Negative 4, negative 2, again do it on your calculator. Negative 4, negative 2 is equal to negative 6H is equal to, and on the other side, 29 minus 17 is equal to 12. Now I divide with the coefficient, divide with the coefficient, so h is equal to -2. Remember, this is the coefficient. And then to find the other one, we substitute. So let's go back into this one. G minus 4h is equal to 29. So G minus